Hello, my peeps. It's a new week and a new episode of Chit Chat with Bernie Bella. This is episode 28. So I'm your host, Bernadine. Again, welcome to episode 28. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. Drop a comment, say hello, share the live. They say sharing is scary. Share the live. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. We stream live every Thursdays at 9 p.m. on both Facebook and YouTube. And previous episodes can be found on my YouTube channel. So visit the site, like, comment, subscribe, and set your notifications to get notified when we go live. Hey, Enid, how are you doing? How was your week? I am doing well. Today is a difficult day, but so far so good. Doing okay. Hi, my friend here early tonight. Lindsay said good night on the job. No, I started at 9. Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for checking in. Keep checking in on your break, Lindsay. Thanks for taking the time to join us. So there is a lot going on this week. So I'm just going to jump right in and start with the artist preview of the week. So there's been a few songs that came out this week. Adele had her single, Easy on Me, came out this week. I've heard people say that, it made them cry and it made them sad and it made them emotional, but they like the song. And it's a nice song. I listened to it. It apparently her whole album is like a sad album, so it should be interesting. But I did like the song. Oh, Enid says she's talking to Carlene. Oh, Carlene probably didn't go sleep this evening, so she's good. But thanks for checking in. And Lindsay says will do. Okay, so Shensia Kerwin Dubois featuring DJ Khaled, they have a new song out now. It's called actually Carry Beer. And the start of the video is so comical because they're in a boardroom and DJ Khaled wants them to, ask them if they want to go to the islands. And they said yes. And all they had to do was just go down a slide and boom, they're on the island. It's a nice soca song. The video's concept is awesome. Shows people taking time out from a busy life and slide into the Caribbean for a vacation. It can also be used as a commercial for Carib Beer, as well as it also shows different islands of the Caribbean. So Bahamas was represented, St. Vincent, all the other islands were represented in this video. So it's a really nice video. Richie Stephens, he's got a nice song out called Crazy. The name is ironic considering what's been going on around him lately, but it's a nice song, good radio play. You can listen to the song and it's awesome. And Spice and Sham has a new song out called Condensed Milk. Definitely not a radio song. There's not much concept to the video, mostly Spice in a bathtub and Sham somewhere doing something. So it's catchy, it have a buzz, the typical Spice and Sham dancehall song, but definitely not a radio play song. So all the videos can be found on YouTube, and the links are in the description box on YouTube. So we're going to touch on what's been happening in the Jamaican entertainment scene lately. It hasn't been as spicy as the last couple of weeks with all these other things going on, but a few little things still are going with it. Jacure is still in jail. He's still detained. His Amsterdam court date was supposed to be on the 18th. He was remanded into custody until the 26th, when he'll be required to appear in the council chamber, part of the Amsterdam court. So that'll be his, he'll be there for 3.5 weeks. So we don't know what's going to be happening with that. So we'll see. Lieutenant Stitchie and Mighty Diamonds has been awarded the Order of Distinction for contribution to the reggae and dancehall music locally and internationally. Stitchie, whose given name is Reverend Dr. Cleve Aman Lang, was awarded the Order of Distinction. Meanwhile, Donald Tabby Shaw, lead vocalist of the 1970s reggae group Mighty Diamonds, was also awarded the Order of Distinction for his contribution to the music industry. Fitzroy Bunny Simpson, the late Fitzroy Bunny Simpson, one of the band's harmonists, was also awarded posthumously. So the ceremony was earlier this week, late last week, earlier this week. So it was handed out to them at that time. Ruddy, Irie, and Major Mackerel have a feud. So these two veteran artists are now feuding. A voice note, pocket change, and allegations of bad mind are at the root of a feud between the veteran dancehall artists. According to Ruddy Irie, Major Mackerel was bad-mouthing him on a voice note he received through a co-worker, which sparked the virtual war. He must have made upon the internet too much and my songs me I promote, Ruddy Irie told the Star. Him the upon my name every day like it's a bad mind thing. But Major Mackerel says the contention is merely Ruddy Irie seeking attention to revitalize his career. Ruddy Irie, I look a boss, me understand it, Major Mackerel told the Star in a brief response. Nothing is wrong with looking a boss, but him just look the wrong way. Most of all, me said Ruddy Irie go a shop from 1988 and him still have some change for me. Ruddy Irie told a different story, saying the only money exchange they had was when they met through DJ Ninja Man. I beg Mackerel beg Ninja a money and Ninja said, Ruddy, give him a grant, and me never give him the grant at Jamaica. $500 me give him cause me have Ninja money. So how Mackerel fi send me out? Me a hot boy from me a ride one wheel. Mackerel can't send me out. The situation has inspired a diss track aimed at Major Mackerel called Stop Follow Me Now, but Major Mackerel does not intend to respond. When him give me back my change, problem me think both clashing, he said. For right now, he's not relevant to me. Ruddy Irie say, if Mackerel never call my name, I say what him say, I'll know you wouldn't hear this. In my ball for Cree right now, I'm not stopping because you disrespect me. From you disrespect me, you are going to drown. But can you imagine, say Major Mackerel have a Ruddy Irie from 1988 for $500 Jamaican. No, this is not funny at all. This is not funny. Anyways, Kanye West is no more. He is now just Ye. A Los Angeles judge on Monday approved the request of the rapper, producer, and fashion designer to legally change his name from Kanye Omari West to just Ye with no middle name or last name. So since there was no objection to the petition that he filed on August 24th, the judge granted it. His social media monikers have always been Ye, and he figures that that's what he should be known legally as. Now, his kids are still West, so I'm not quite sure how that goes. Do they then get to change their last name to now Ye, or how does that work? But yeah, he is now just Ye. So earlier this week, we lost General Colin Powell. The son of Jamaican immigrants who rose to become the first Black U.S. Secretary of State and the top military officer. He died on Monday at the age of 84. He was born in New York on April 5th, 1937. He was the son of a shipping clerk and a seamstress who arrived from Jamaica in America on a banana boat in the 1920s. He married his wife Alma in 1962 and they had 3 children. So rest in peace to Colin Powell and condolences to his family. At 84, I guess he achieved all that he wanted to achieve, and he lived a long life, and He had some regrets, which he stated that he does, but for the most part, had a good life. And to be married to the woman that he loves from 1962, that is a long time. A very long time. Anyways, good evening, Marcel. How are you? Hope all is well with you. And then it's just Marcel. Everybody's saying hello, hello, hello. Okay, so Elaine Thompson-Herah, the fastest woman alive, has now confirmed her departure from MVP and has revealed that she's yet to assemble her team for the 2021-2022 track season that included the World Championship. That includes, because it's not gone yet, the World Championships at Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon next summer. She was also one of the participants who got the OD from the Jamaican government as well, the Order of Distinction Commander class from the Jamaican government. But this thing, this circulated maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. It came out that she had intended to leave MVP, and it was a big brouhaha then. She came out and said it was a lie. She came out and said nothing to it. It's a lie. It's just media making up stories and all of that. I actually went back and watched the video of an interview she did, and she just sat there barefaced and said it was a lie. 3 weeks later, here she is stating that, she's leaving the club and she's still in the process of finalizing her training arrangements and all of that stuff. Like, I mean, you got the opportunity. I love her running. I love what she did and all of that. But you got the opportunity to tell the truth at the beginning, like and to come out and say that it's not true. Even though at that time there was a letter that was shown that was sent on your behalf. So yeah, she doesn't know who will be coaching her yet, does not know who will be where she'll end up in terms of which club she'll be at. But, good luck to her and congrats to her OD. So now you have to refer to her as Miss Thompson-Herah OD. So, hey, Erica, how are you? Thanks for checking in. Hey, Rudolph, how are you? Thanks for checking in. We still have to meet up. We will. We still have to meet up. We will. Marianne Hall, the former Lady Saw, stated in the most recent interview that she was raped at gunpoint when she was younger. She said at the time she was actually a virgin, so that was her first experience with sex. She didn't state who did it, or she didn't provide any clues as to who it might be. But I've noticed a trend that ever since Tanya Stevens came out with her statement and her interview, more and more people are coming out with their experiences. So hopefully this will allow others to come out and speak their truth and talk about what happened to them so that they can heal or start the process of healing. Okay, so we're going to move on to sports. And last night was the first game of the season for the Toronto Raptors. They played against the Washington Wizards and they lost that game. However, when I watched it, it's like them nervous. Them never play a good. They didn't execute their game plan. They turned over the ball too many times. They missed too many shots. It's like the first 3 quarters, they were sleepwalking. In the fourth quarter, however, them do look better in that fourth quarter, but it was too little too late. So their next game is tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow they will play better, because they honestly could not have played any worse than they did last night. But it's, my season starts. Anyways, any sports season, not my season, but Raptors, yeah. TFC was officially statistically eliminated from going to the playoffs when they lost their game last Saturday against Atlanta United. They also lost their game last night against Inter against Inter Miami. They're now looking forward to the end of the season in order to go fishing, regroup, and start the next season later this year. There's a stats that said that since July 24th, they have not won a game on the road. They've either lost their games or draw the game, but they've not won a game on the road since July 24th. So they'll be going fishing soon. The Argos did not play this past week. Their next game is October 22nd, tomorrow, against the Alouettes. So, we'll see how that goes, and I'll keep you posted for next week. Maple Leafs, their season started. So far, they've won 2 games, lost 2 games. Their next game is tomorrow against the Sharks. I think they have 4 points, so they're leading their Atlantic Division right now. So for my Leafs fans, your dream starts. Your dream starts again. Dream of having a championship starts again. So that's our sports section. I am going to go around now to our various news stories. And man, is there a lot of things going on. Holy crappy. So I'm going to start with the abduction and what's that? The abduction of Felicia Prusha and Winchell Barrett by Davion Ryan, and also the fact that both girls have been found alive. Both girls have been reunited with their family. And I'm sure everybody has, heard some form of that story, different things coming out, with that story. However, their abductor is still missing. There's a $200,000 reward that's being offered by Crime Stop Jamaica for his whereabouts. So if I was him, I'd stay in the bushes, because anybody catch a glimpse of him, them will kill him. He'll be dog meat. And if him go jail, them will kill him in a jail. But I've heard a couple of interviews, and I've heard a couple of voice notes. There's one with his mother, where she's actually begging the police and begging other people in the community to not harm him if they catch him. And it's not that she didn't want them to harm him so that he could go to court and face justice. She's saying they should not harm him because he didn't harm the girls that he abducted, because the girls were discovered alive. That is her thinking. That is her thought process. And I understand that as a parent, you don't want anything to happen to your child. However, when your child is evil incarnate, you have to have a different mindset. In her voice note and her interview, she never apologized to the families of the girls that were abducted for what her son did to them. She never showed any remorse on the behalf of her son or anything of that nature. She's just looking out for her son and, asking them not to harm him or anything of that nature. This isn't his first brush with the police. At the time when he abducted the girls, he was actually out on bail. And he was out on bail for rape, illegal possession of a firearm, and illegal possession of ammunition. And he absconded bail, right? There's also a interview with the father, and the father was talking about how much money he's had to spend on lawyers for the last case that he's charged with. So the last case in Portland, the lawyer charged a father $500,000 Jamaican in order to represent him to get him bail. The father so far has paid $140,000 off the $500,000. And yet here the father is right now, he was actually helping them to look for him, for the son. So now the father is going to be out all that money that he can't afford, and he keeps spending money on different court cases for the son. Him claims that the son have mental issues. Him claims that him keep talking to the son and, asking him not to get into trouble, not to do anything. And the son keeps telling him, yes, assuring him that he's not going to get into trouble. He's not going to do anything. And then he was surprised to hear that it was his son that abducted the two girls. The other thing that happened was there was a man that was attacked and killed in a case of mistaken identity. I think his name was Levi. His name's Levi, was attacked and killed by residents in Landui, St. Thomas. Now, he was in an area that he didn't live in. People saw him, knew that he wasn't from the area. They stated that he resembled or looked like the man on screen in the bushes. And they chased him, beat him, stab him up on something. By the time the police come to rescue him and thing, it was too late. They took him to the hospital. It was too late, so he succumbed to his injuries. Again, Davian is still on the run, and there's a $200,000 reward out for him. There's a couple other girls that are still missing, but they're not related to him because they're in different parts of the island. But, the good news is that these two girls that he abducted, they were found relatively unharmed. They're still scarred. They still had to go to the hospital. I'm sure there's still going to be, psychiatric help that they will need to get because of what happened. But at the end of the day, they were found alive. And that's one of the most important things for him. So let's see. Enid says, I catch her if you slap off our fears. Enid, yeah, get violent. And what's this? She said, so if him sick, why the family doesn't seek help? Big lie. I don't know, because in listening to the father's interview, he never stated that they tried to have him get help. All he keeps talking about was the amount of money that he has spent and the amount of work that he's had to do to get the money to spend on lawyers to get his son out of jail all the time. And him family members keep telling him that he's an idiot for spending that much money to try to get a boy out of trouble who's always in trouble. Right? So, I don't know how that I go like. I mean, some people don't want to see that their kid have issues and try to help them that way. They'd rather spend money on lawyers and other stuff as opposed to try to spend money on psychiatrists or whatever. Because, if you have mental problems and you need psychiatrists, you're weak as a man. That's a thinking. So it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting, but enough for him. If and when he gets captured, hopefully during this week, I'll let you guys know, and you'll find out on the various media programs. But it was just interesting with all that's happening down there, and the fact that as soon as they found one girl, the other one went missing. And there's all kinds of story as to how or why the other one could have gone missing. But at the end of the day, both girls were found alive. So we're going to circle around to New York, and a New York cop is facing murder charges after an apparent love triangle turned deadly. Police said 31-year-old Yvonne Wu, a 5-year veteran of the force, was lying in wait at her ex-girlfriend's home in Brooklyn when she shot her ex and the ex's new lover. It was 2 shots, and I have never ever in all the years I've lived here in my life seen anything like this, neighbor Pat Santi said. Cell phone video shows Wu being frisked by fellow police officers Wednesday evening. Wu was off duty when she allegedly shot and wounded her ex-girlfriend, 23-year-old Jenny Lee, and killed 24-year-old Jamie Lang, her ex's new girlfriend. Multiple 911 calls reported that shots were fired inside the house in Bensonhurst in Brooklyn around 5 p.m. People are saying that they can't believe it. They're saying that Wu and her ex broke up last month, and the neighbor was saying, just like anyone else, you can come home and find your lover or someone with someone else and you snap. So I don't think it had nothing to do that she was a police officer. Interesting. Sources said Wu waited inside her ex-girlfriend's home, which they had shared at one time. When she returned with Lang, Wu allegedly fired off multiple rounds. They're stating that she might have used her service revolver to commit the murders. So Wu, 25-year-old police officer, killed her 24-year-old ex-girlfriend and the 23-year-old ex-girlfriend's current girlfriends. Police said Wu admitted to the shooting right away and that her weapons was inside the house. She shot them and then waited for the cops to come. She never ran, never did anything, didn't try to get away or anything of that nature. Just, in the heat of the moment. I don't know if they would call that a crime of passion, but I want to know what happened when you calm down. Once you've done your killing in the heat of the moment, and then you calm down, and what then? You say, if me did know me wouldn't shoot her, me would have make she go on to have another girlfriend. I mean, you could have get another girlfriend. At age 25, you could have got another girlfriend. So you throw away your whole life at age 25. You killed your ex-girlfriend and her current girlfriend because what? She left you? Me not understand that thinking there. Make it make sense, Lord. Make it make sense. Me not understand that thinking. But that is what's happening with her. So she got in jail for life. Okay, you know the USA ain't doing that 25-year crap. She gonna get like 80 years. She ain't never coming back out. Never coming back out. So hey Desireen, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. Hope all is well. So we're gonna circle around to the UK, and I found this story quite interesting. Quite interesting. So a woman who took her professional sex work home during the coronavirus pandemic reportedly has been removed from UK public housing amid complaints from neighbors over her allegedly loud operation. So Nicola Parry, age 29, is said to have hosted up to 10 clients at a time in her Manchester home. Local magistrates noted that customers would queue up in cars along the block beginning in the morning while waiting to work with Parry. Her booming business supposedly caused disruptive noise at all hours. Constraints due to COVID-19 had taken the small business owners work from an established brothel in Manchester City Centre back to her suburban home during a period of government-mandated restrictions between November 2020 and February 2021. The mother of one had also asked a neighbor to look after her 6-year-old son one morning while she was working. Police were compelled to intervene after a vigilant neighbor who evidently spent a lot of time in her garden outside the courtesan's apartment provided a log of Parry's appointments, including details of 3 working girls who arrived at her home to provide additional support. One of the complaining neighbors alleged that she had been mistaken for a sex worker herself and was solicited by one of Parry's clients. The dispute escalated when Parry took to her roof to shout down detractors in her neighborhood, ordering the effing bitches to confess which one of you has done it, in reference to a letter of complaint she had received from the housing association. But the situation soon became dangerous for Parry and others when she found herself in peril at the home of a client in Denton, England, following backlash from her neighbors. Naked, she ran into traffic to attract attention of passers-by and escape a reportedly abusive client. Police were called to the scene and arrested Parry. The recently displaced prostitute has since set up shop in an apartment above a massage therapy clinic in Blackpool after admitting to charges related to indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, and drug possession. Parry told authorities she preferred to work out of a brothel, but because of COVID-19 restrictions, she was forced to bring her business home. She said in doing so, it caused issues, and then the neighbor got involved, and then the police were called, and then she started working elsewhere, and then that led to her being attacked in the house when she had to run out naked, causing a nuisance to attract the police, and all of that situation. Imagine being that neighbor who just happened to be working in her garden, who is able to write down and keep a track of all the people who was coming to Nicola's apartment while she worked. That neighbor didn't have nothing to do. That neighbor need a job. That's what you call a nosy neighbor. That is what you call a very nosy neighbor. Oh boy. That was funny. That was funny. Yeah, but she's moved out of her council apartment and she's moved on elsewhere to apply her trade elsewhere. So she no longer has to deal with those nosy neighbors. Amen. Enid said this is a movie. You're getting your popcorn, Enid. You're getting your popcorn. Oh, man. Anyways, we're going to circle to Jamaica, and there's some things happening in the education ministry again, because Dr. Grace McLean, who is the acting permanent secretary in the education ministry, has been sent on leave as she's at the center of a damning report on fiduciary failings surrounding the payment of $124 million to the Joint Committee of Tertiary Education. Bottom line, what they're saying is that there's $124 million missing. The company that she supposedly gave it to, that used to be a part of the Ministry of Education and is no longer a part of the Ministry of Education, that company shouldn't have gotten the money. There's not enough paper trail to know if that company spent the money properly and spend it according to how it was required to be spent. So there was an investigation. She was asked to step aside until further investigation and further audits are done, and then they will decide what to do with her. So $124 million Jamaican. Poof. Gone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. She didn't track it properly. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll come up again in the news, and I'll keep you guys posted. And we're staying in Jamaica. And this high school Excelsior High School student Kayshell Thompson was looking forward to celebrating her 15th birthday on October 30th and continuing her academic journey to realize her dream of becoming a heart surgeon. However, Thompson, who was affectionately called Brittany, died at the Kingston Public Hospital on Sunday, 6 days after complaining of being continuously thirsty and having a pain in the throat. The teen's shell-shocked mother, Kareen Douglas, was with her only daughter when she took her last breath. She said that her family is devastated as no one considered that Thompson, who was full of life, would die so suddenly and under such mysterious circumstances. He is her father's only child. He is in pain. He cannot eat or sleep. He is hurting. Right now, he take down one of her pictures and is wiping it off. I don't know how we are going to survive this. My baby death, I puzzle everybody, she said. Douglas told the Star that Thompson, who is from Seaview Gardens, St. Andrew, began complaining of extreme thirst last Tuesday, and her situation did not improve despite the teen consuming lots of fluids. 2 days later, Thompson was taken to a medical facility and was told by the doctor that she was hydrated. He prescribed a tonic, antibiotics, and some pills for pain, and he gave her another medication just in case she started vomiting. I bought the medication same time, and he told me that if she was still suffering from dehydration, I should take her to the hospital. I gave her fluids and she was drinking, but she kept saying she wanted more. So I decided to take her to the hospital, Douglas said. Thompson spent the night at Saturday night at KPH, where she underwent a series of tests which showed an infection on her lungs. Douglas said that the doctors told her that it could be treated with antibiotics. Douglas said that Thompson was texting and even asking for her father. On Sunday, she was at her daughter's bedside when the doctors came to check on her. Nothing could prepare her for the devastating moments that lie ahead, she said. When they began to check Brittany, the doctors could not find any of her veins. She was conscious at the time, and they told me to rub her down so she could get calm while they were searching for veins. She was even sitting up, and then me hear the doctor say her belly. And then me start ask how her belly so big. The doctor said they were wondering what was causing it because they were not detected anything except an infection on her lungs. I was rubbing her down, and I don't know what happened after. My baby just died, a heartbroken Douglas said. I watched her take her last breath. I was rubbing her down to keep her calm, added the weeping mother, who said the doctors did everything to save her child. Douglas said that the 14-year-old had no major health issues. She also said that her daughter tested negative for COVID-19 on 3 occasions. Douglas is hoping that the postmortem will solve the mystery of Thompson's death and possibly help the family get closure. That's crazy. Man, that must be hard. Very hard. Okay, so we're going to do our COVID roundup this week, and a bunch of things are happening. So even though the Canada-US border will be open to non-essential travelers in November, travelers will still need to have a negative test in order to return to Canada. So even if you're going over for a day trip, they will require you to have a negative COVID test on your return. Now, I think it's $40 or $50 to get a COVID test over here in Canada. It's anywhere from $200 to $400 US to get one in the United States. The quick test, it's even more expensive than the one that takes a longer time. What some people are suggesting is that if you get your COVID test done here, bring the results with you if you're going over for a day trip. And then when you're coming back, you present that on the border. I'm not sure if that'll work, but that's what some people are stating that should happen. A lot of the border businesses and stores and stuff, they're hoping that some changes will be made to that rule so that they'll be able to get the day trippers and it'll help their business. So we'll see what happens. Silverthorne Collegiate Institute that was closed due to a COVID outbreak has now reopened. Saskatchewan, they've already sent 6 patients to Ontario for COVID treatment because they're so overwhelmed in Saskatchewan with COVID patients. They were scheduled to send another 6, but they've the news yesterday or this morning, they decided against sending those 6. So I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. Their daily numbers are still very high. So we'll see. Manitoba, they've got a very high case as well. They're also getting help from outside the province. Alberta, their numbers are higher than Ontario numbers. So we'll see. So in Ontario, the vaccine passport QR code was launched over the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it was launched according to the month you were born. As of Monday, it was open to everybody. So you can download it and have it to show on your phone to show establishments when you go to a restaurant or wherever they're asking you for your, whether you're vaccinated or not. You'll have the QR code to show because you can now download the app. It's been announced that your illustrious Premier Doug Ford will be having a news conference tomorrow to state that capacity limits will be lifted on restaurants and gyms by Monday. So we'll see what other goodies are announced tomorrow, because the restaurant industry and the gym industry, they've been crying foul about not being able to have more than 50% of the capacity in the restaurants. So on the federal government side, Canada is launching a standard federal proof of COVID vaccine system. That will be accessed via a QR code. A sample of what it will look like is shown on screen. It'll show your name, date of birth, and your COVID vaccine history, including which doses you got and when you got them. So you can use that proof of vaccine system anywhere in Canada, as well as when you're traveling internationally. There's still talk of whether it will be accepted internationally. However, you're allowed to use it. So you'll have a provincial one and you'll have a federal one that you can use when you're traveling outside of the country. So our corona numbers for this week are: in Canada, 1.7 million have been tested, 28,657 deaths reported, with an increase of 314 deaths over last week's number. And a lot of those deaths are mostly Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Manitoba. Those are the 3 provinces right now that are recording high number of COVID deaths. Worldwide numbers, so far 243 million people have been tested. 4.92 million people have died. It's an increase of 21,000 over last week's number, but it's a significant reduction over the numbers previously. Last week number over the week before was 53,000, and this week it's only 21,000. So the numbers are going down. Ontario numbers are as follows: 596,000 have been tested, 9,827 people have died, with an increase of 23 people over last week's numbers. And with Jamaica numbers, 87,723 have been tested, 2,129 people have died, with an increase of 76 over last week's number, but it's still lower than the week before number. If that's a good news, then, you know, we'll take that. So those are the Corona COVID roundup cases for this week. And so to go back to our news section, I'm going to go over to the UK, because a Londoner who reportedly splashed out on $37,000 worth of food and drink was upset when the bill arrived. It was a meal for four. It was £37,023.10. And they decided to share the receipt online. So it's an upscale steakhouse. Apparently the chef is uber fancy, and everybody's been wanting to get into this restaurant for a very long time. And, you know, these four people went in and they had their meal. That gold thing that's on the side, that's it's called a golden tomahawk steak. That alone was 850 pounds. And what that is your steak covered in gold leaf. All right. So that was 850 pounds. They had the sauteed broccoli was 14 pounds. Asparagus was 18 pounds. The herb crusted fries were 30 pounds. And a side of mashed potato is 12 pounds. So the next time y'all go to Joey's or Milestones or Chop and see those prices, you can't complain, because those prices are a hell of a lot cheaper than what's at this restaurant. However, why the bill was so high was because they ordered 3 bottles of wine that they ordered. Each bottle was 9,000 pounds each. A vintage 1996 bottle of Petros at 2,000 and 2003 bottle of Petros. Each of those wines were a little over 9,000 pounds, which took the bill up to 37,000 pounds. So to all my friends, I am not that expensive. I'll take the cash. I'm not that expensive. I'm just saying, if you want to treat me, you know, I'd rather go on a trip somewhere as opposed to spending that on food, and just to come and say, oh, I spent that much money on food. No, stupid. So 37,000 pounds. That's like going to a restaurant and spending $60,000 on food. On food. Yeah. We're going to circle around to India. And an Indian couple has sailed across submerged streets in a massive cooking pot to reach their wedding destination. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Drop a comment. Let me know if you can hear me, because my mic went out for a bit. So just let me know if you can hear me. Okay, so that's the bride and groom in a pot on the flooded streets in the southern state of Kerala. I first may I see one pot so big. First, me I see one pot so big. The couple borrowed the pot from a local temple and enlisted 2 men to push the makeshift boat. The bride said it has turned into a wedding which we never imagined. While their wedding venue was also partially flooded, the pair were determined to tie the knot in a small ceremony. Both the husband and wife are healthcare workers. And the first member said such a big pot. Them did really want to get married. Really, really want to get married, but hey, it is what it is. Anyways, I am going to circle around to Quebec, and a 20-year-old man died early Sunday morning when he was struck by a car on a highway moments after stepping out of his vehicle in Laval, north of Montreal. Laval police said the man left the vehicle to urinate after it stopped on the edge of a ramp on Highway 15 around 4:50 a.m. The Laval police said the victim exited on the traffic side of the vehicle rather than the side where there are bushes. The victim was then hit by another vehicle on the same road and was pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of the parked vehicle, a friend of the victim, was taken to hospital for nervous shock. Bechara says police will meet with the other vehicle's passengers later today, but no charges should be laid as neither alcohol nor speed were a factor in the accident. I guess when I hear time and if I say a figure, I say a figure. Okay, can you imagine driving, pulling over to the side of the road so that your friend can come out, come pee, and the next thing you know, car come like your friend kill him? That's crazy. That is very, very strange. Okay. So we're going to circle back to Jamaica. And I said James man who reportedly went to Flankers in Montego Bay, St. James last Monday to meet a man he met on a gay dating site is now in hospital in critical condition after he was abducted, robbed, had his penis partially severed, and then set on fire. According to police investigators, they are now searching for 3 men, including the person the injured 18-year-old man went to meet. Police report the victim told investigators that the man he met on the gay dating site said he was from Flankers and had asked to meet at a location in the St. James community last Monday. He reported that upon reaching the agreed spot, he was met by 3 men who abducted him and robbed him of his bank card, cell phone, and other valuables. They then beat him, forcing him to divulge his banking information. According to police, the victim was held at a location while the men went to an ATM where they tried to use the bank card to withdraw money. They were unsuccessful, the police officer said, in reference to their attempt to get cash from the man's account. So they returned to where they were holding their victim, and on this occasion, he was forced to transfer money into an account that they gave him. The cops said the men who were reportedly drinking alcohol then doused their victim with rum and partially severed his penis before setting him on fire and leaving him to die. He's a very lucky man because although they left him in a critical condition, he managed to make his way to a security checkpoint in the community where they assisted him to the hospital where he was admitted in critical conditions. They're stating that there's a scheme going on now in which men went on popular gay sites pretending to be seeking sexual partners, which surfaced in Granville several years ago but was subsequently dismantled, appeared to be the blueprint used in this case. They're saying that it's not the first incident of this nature. that the police in St. James are dealing with. There was a similar situation in 2020 where the 43-year-old man died. You know, so this young guy, he's lucky, because the other guy that they did it to, the 43-year-old guy, he was set on fire. He was burnt. They found his body days later in a shallow grave. There's another 19-year-old and a 22-year-old man who were arrested in connection with that 40-year-old guy. But this particular guy, he is very lucky. Yes, Enid, he's very lucky indeed to be alive based on what they did to him. But I mean, you can never dictate anybody's sexual orientation or whatever. Why go on the gay side? You know you're going to get a gay guy. Why go on the gay side and then when the guy come and beat him up and all of those things? That's not right. That is not right at all. Not right. But again, he's a very lucky man. Very, very lucky. So we're going to go around to India. And this is a little bit squeamish. So if you're very squeamish, don't look. I couldn't show all of the pictures of this particular situation, but this woman is very, very, very lucky to be alive. According to the article, it took only 4 hours for doctors in India to remove an axe lodged in her skull. Rika Dangi from the community of Vidisha in central Madhya Pradesh was brought into the trauma center in Bhopal after being struck by unknown assailants last week while she and her family were at a local temple. She arrived at the hospital with the blade of an axe measuring 8 centimeters, 3 inches long, wedged inside her head, which could not be removed until the patient was on the operating table. Otherwise, they would risk hemorrhaging. So it took 4 hours for various. You had a neurosurgeon, a traumatologist, a vascular surgeon, a plastic surgeon, and several other different types of surgeon over 4 hours to remove the blade, the axe blade, from her head. She's very, very, very lucky. She's still in intensive care. She hasn't been sent home as yet, as she still has to be monitored, but she's very lucky to be alive. Oh, Enid said they didn't want him, they want the money. That's true, but if they didn't want him and wanted the money, just take the money. Why beat him up? Why cut him, cut up or slice him penis? Why do all of the other things? Just, just take the money. Just take the money. So we're going to circle around to Florida. And police have charged a convicted murderer who was released from prison last year with the slaying of a South Florida woman whose body was found in a canal after being missing for 3 weeks. Eric Pearson, age 54, was charged Saturday with first-degree murder for the slaying of Erica Verdesha, age 33, hours after her body was found Saturday near Fort Lauderdale. Sunrise police say Pearson confessed to stabbing the single mother 4 times with a screwdriver on September 25th. Pearson had been released from prison in September 2020 after serving 27 years of a 40-year sentence for the 1993 beating and strangulation murder of 17-year-old Christina Whitaker, whose death helped galvanize a push for longer prison sentences. He had pled guilty to second-degree murder. So Florida did away with parole after the slaying, requiring convicts to serve at least 85% of their sentences. But the change could not be applied retroactively, and Pearson was still eligible for parole, which was why he was released last year. In 1985, he broke into a woman's home and slit her throat. So in 1985, he broke into a woman's home, slit her throat. He got 18 years and served 4 years for first-degree attempted murder before being paroled. After that, he then attacked the other girl, killed her, stabbed her 4 times with a screwdriver, got a 40-year sentence, served 27 years, came out last year, and is on murder charges again this year. And this particular lady has a 6-year-old child that now she's gone and the child is motherless. Sometimes you wonder about the justice system. Because the rolling stone effect of this guy, when he had slit the first person's throat, if he had spent his full 18 years, he wouldn't have been out on the street to kill the other person that he killed in the 90s. Right? And if he had if he was serving his 4 years, he still wouldn't be out on the streets to kill this woman. Thankfully, with the way the law is right now, he'll never be back on the streets again. He'll never be back on the streets again. But that's so sad. So sad. Very, very sad. But I have another story that I need you guys' thoughts and opinions are. We're staying in Florida. And we're staying in Florida. I don't even know how to start that one. Anyways, the gentleman in the picture, his name is Mike Hagabuk. He's somewhere between age 48 and age 55. The bride in the picture is his goddaughter, age 18. Now, there's an uproar about this situation because of, one, the age difference, two, the fact that the man is his wife's godfather, and they're also stating that he also dated his wife's mother way back when. Now, for those people who are in his neck of the woods and are on social media with him, they decided to call him out and put him on blast. And this is what he had to say. It seems like I'm the only Anna in this one have married a young woman, in this town who have married a young woman. But since it's me, they got to have something to talk about. Look like you little girls are jealous of my wife, but keep on promoting us. I love it. The wife has since put out a video asking that they be left alone. She's a grown woman. She's been grown since she was 16 years old. and people need to come out of her business. Now, in doing further research, going up on Facebook, figure faster than their business. She was missing a couple of years ago at age 16. She ran away from home, and it was him and the mother that was, actively looking for her, posting on social media, asking her to. I call this grooming. Oh, you fit there with your goddaughter. You watch her born, you watch her grow, and then you decide that you are the perfect man for her. And people say that at his age, he has kids older than her. And that's okay. It's the fact that he's the godfather, that she's his goddaughter, that's just slimy and grimy. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But as him said, people jealous of him and his wife, and they need to leave them alone. But it's just grimy, mix up. It's just nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Yes, nasty. So, I don't know. Anyways, we're going to circle back to Jamaica, and the Klansman trial that was supposed to have started on the 19th has been postponed again because another defendant has tested positive for COVID. So that particular trial has now been postponed to October 25th. So I will keep you guys posted to see if the trial started or if there's another delay or what the situation is. So yeah, Enid says him groomer for himself. Right? That's just nasty. Also, we're going to go to the USA. Ahmaud Arbery murder trial is about to start. Gregory and Travis McMichael and William Bryan, the neighbor, the father and son, and the neighbor who killed Ahmaud, they're all on trial for this murder. They're all being tried together. If you recall, Ahmaud was out jogging when he was chased down by the men and killed mostly by the father and son, and the neighbor was the one that was videotaping and all of that stuff. It was deemed a hate crime, killed while black running, or black killed while running. And so the jury selection for this particular case started this week. So I'll give you guys weekly summary as to how the trial is progressing once the trial starts. I'm going to circle around to Pennsylvania, and this situation that happened there had me thinking about some of the time when you see people videotaping stuff and not helping. This is a little bit graphic. The situation is just, I'm not quite sure why anybody would not have stepped up and helped. But in Pennsylvania, a man was charged with raping a woman on a commuter train just outside Philadelphia. The man harassed her for more than 40 minutes while multiple people held up their phones to seemingly record the assault without intervening. More than 24 train stops passed as the man harassed, groped, and eventually raped the woman on the train. Police do not believe a single witness on the train dialed 911. They're saying the man and woman got on the train at the same stop. Officers had to pull the man off of the woman at the last stop. They responded within about 3 minutes of a 911 call from a transportation authority employee. Now, what happened was the employee wasn't even on the train. The employee wasn't even on the train. The assault took 40 minutes. They're saying that based on evidence and videos that they've gotten so far, during that 40 minutes, the woman repeatedly tried to push the man off of her and push him away from her. And he just kept at her. Nobody helped her. Everybody was videotaping. Now imagine being on the TTC, on a train on the TTC, and this is happening and nobody's helping. Everybody just took out their phone and was videotaping. So police are saying that those individuals who didn't help and who was just recording could be charged. They're stating that the reason why they knew about it to begin with was because when the train was leaving one of the stations, the transit employee noticed from outside the train, noticed the woman struggling with the man. Apparently there's video showing her pushing him away multiple times until he was seen ripping her pants. Right? When the train passed the guy and he looked up and he saw the little struggle, he called police. Police met them at the next train stop. That's how she was rescued. Now the man is stating that he knew the victim. He couldn't remember her name. And he said the encounter was consensual. I am just stuck on the fact that nobody helped. Nobody called 911. Nobody went over to help her. Nobody pulled him off of her. Nobody helped her in her struggles to get the man away from her. Imagine we're at a place where it's easier to grab your phone to record something happening than to actually use your phone to call for help. Because if when she had started struggling and somebody had called 911 right away, it wouldn't have gone on for 40 minutes. Just think, 40 minutes. That's like driving from Brampton to Toronto. 40 minutes. And that's been stuck in traffic with driving from Brampton to Toronto. Like the length of time that it took. That's very sad. But anyways, we are going to circle around to Florida. And a man is facing a murder charge after he allegedly shot and killed his mother at a bus stop in Florida City. Andrew Ellisant, age 20, also faces an attempted murder charge in the Tuesday morning shooting at the bus stop in the 200 block of Southwest 344th Street, according to a Miami-Dade police arrest report. The report said police responded to the bus stop around 4:20 a.m. and found the victim unresponsive. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The victim turned out to be Innocent's mother, 48-year-old Loretta Bruno. According to the arrest, Bruno had been dropped off at the bus stop by a friend so she could catch a bus to work. As she was walking to the bus stop, Innocent emerged from some nearby bushes and started shooting at her. The friend who had dropped Bruno off began screaming for help, and Innocent started shooting at him as he drove away, shattered his car window and flattening a tire. Innocent fled the scene but was later found and arrested. According to the report, Innocent and Bruno had been involved in several verbal disputes over an inheritance Innocent had received from his father. When Innocent was told there was no more money, he told Bruno, "If you don't give me my money, you are going to see what's going to happen to you." Innocent is currently being held without bond. Backstory is the mother is Jamaican. I'm not quite sure if the son was born in Jamaica or born in the US, but the mother is Jamaican. So the son killing mother for money that he thinks he's entitled to, and the mother tell him say not no left. And never believe her, so him kill her. At least when they right now, I'm not going to need no more money. Because the government are going to feed him. The government are going to close him. And the government are going to give him a bed for sleep. And age 20, he'll be spending the next 40, 50, however many years him have left to live behind bars. So that's that on that one. Hey, Georgette. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Danny. Hey, fams. How's it going? I saw you today, but I wasn't able to reach out. It was a difficult day, but I saw you today. So we're going to circle back to Jamaica, and the grandson of the elderly woman who was found dead at her home in Alside District, Warsop in Trelawney on Monday has been charged with murder following an alleged confession during a question and answer session with the police. Charged is 26-year-old Jermaine Powell, otherwise called Man, of Warsop, of Alside District, Warsop in the parish. Reports are that about 12:15 a.m., Powell reported to the police that he discovered his grandmother's body in her bed covered in blood. The police responded, and on their arrival, Walcott was found with multiple lacerations all over the body. The crime scene was processed and the body was removed to the morgue. Powell was taken into custody and a question and answer session was conducted on Monday, October 18th. During the session, Powell reportedly confessed that he killed his grandmother. He was then charged and his court date is being finalized. Now, the grandmother couldn't walk. The grandmother had other ailments. The grandmother didn't understand what go through them people ahead. I don't understand. Boy killing mother, boy killing grandmother. I don't get it. I don't understand. Sharon said, hold on, they working me like a hunt, like Kunta Kinte. Sharon, put down your phone and step away from it. Put down your phone and step away from the phone. So we're coming to the topic of the night section of the program. And I was asked to touch on the church situation and the arrest and all of that stuff that is happening, that happened in Montego Bay this week. No. Me not like how the people in my parish. Me not like how the people are going down there, but me never know say, me know religion and how people look at church, single-minded, single focus, but me never know say that it reached to the point wherein You're going to kill somebody because the pastor tell you say, and that you fi do. Me never get that part. Me never understand say it reaches. So I don't know how it reaches so. How it reached this so. So the guy in the white and the blue, the same guy, he is Dr. Kevin O. Smith, leader of Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries. He was actually living in Canada, I was told, and based on things that I've read, watched, researched, he was living here for a bit. He likes to be called His Excellency. The lady on screen is the lady that was killed that night. And the house that's shown is where he lives and where the, I'm going to say church in quotes, was being held. So him and members of his congregation were arrested on Sunday night following what has been described as bloodshedding ritual that claimed the lives of two persons. So according to a voice note that I listened to, the lady was asked to kill a cow as a ritual. She didn't kill the cow. She didn't kill the cow. She was afraid. She wasn't moving quickly enough. She was squeamish. And he then instructed a brother, you know, in churches, brother and sister. Sorry. Drink some orange juice to wet my throat. You know, in churches, brother and sister, da. And because she never want to kill the cow, he instructed the brother to kill her, which he did without hesitation. There's different reports coming from different people, different things as to what happened. There's people coming out of the woodwork stating that, you know, he was reported to the authorities years ago. Different people have come out and stated that he's always surrounded by little boys. There are boys that have done interviews on TV since that are telling their story of what he did to them. There are guys who have come out and said that, you know, he didn't want them to have girlfriends. They were supposed to just be beholden to him. So many things coming out of this where you have to really stop and think. So for those of you who have, you know, heard about it and have been following it all week, drop your comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on what you think. I would like to think that this is the only church of that nature, or the only gathering of that nature in Jamaica, but I'm not going to be that naive. I'm sure there's others elsewhere that, you know, people haven't come forward with. The church members were told to dress in all white, wrap their cell phones in aluminum foil and leave it at their home. And they were supposed to come prepared to go on the ark that would be taking them away somewhere. In all the things I've seen and read, I haven't heard any destination as to where the ark was taking them. So, when the police arrived at the home, 42 members of the church were arrested. 8 male members plus the pastor remains in custody. I think the pastor might have been granted bail today. I know they started a GoFundMe that they were trying to raise about $30,000 for bail and lawyers and stuff. I think GoFundMe has taken down that site right now. There was another guy that was killed. I can't remember if it was a police that killed him or if it's another member of the organization that killed him. There were 14 children that were in the church at the time of the incident. All 14 children are now in state care. The lady, her brother came out and stated that he told her to get out of it. And she never did. He told her that she should stop going. It wasn't right. She never did. There was another guy that came out that said his sister was one of the people that were arrested. And she was trying to take her mother off as her insurance beneficiary in order to put the pastor on as the beneficiary to her insurance plan. Apparently they rake in about $1 million per month. One of the guys stated that when they go to church or they do collection like 4 or 5 times throughout the church service. So the man just collect money, just collect money. So let me see. Sharon says 100% delusions of grandeur. Carlene said that's not a church, it's a cult. Sharon says never mind, I'm 100% certified mad gay broke man. Enid says he don't need bail. Enid says her mom and son. Yes, it was her mom and son that she was trying to take off the insurance plan, insurance benefits in order to put him on. The thing to note too is that Dr. Kevin O. Smith has a degree in psychiatry. So he knows how to play with people's mind. He knows how to manipulate people's mind. And he used it for his own benefit. There's one of the reports stated that there was a laptop that the police recovered, and on the laptop there was 144 names on a list that was kind of a hit list, but it was also the people who were going to this church that he had them on a hit list. So I started thinking, is it that these people were the people that possibly had insurance benefits that he was going to possibly try to con them and tell them, put me on so that when you die, I get your stuff, and then he would find some way to kill. Like, so many things come to mind when you think about this particular guy and what he's been able to do and for how long he's been able to do it. Because now that people are coming out of the woodwork stating, oh yeah, I went to him and I had to pay him $50, and then him tell me, I'm supposed to come back and pay him another $300. And these are all US dollars. and all of these other things. So me not understand. There was even a police woman that was among the audience there as well. So then you wonder, like, how many other people would he have been able to manipulate? Would he have been able to kill if the police hadn't disrupt his organization on Sunday? And then how many other churches or cults that are there operating in Jamaica? Now, what I find interesting with the timing of all of this is that last week there was a girl that was, her parents stated that she was missing. And she did there was an article in the Star about her where she came out and said she wasn't missing. She went to do the Lord's work. And the parents were saying that she was involved in a cult because she was going to law school. And then because of this particular church, she stopped going to law school. She left her parents' house and she went to that church, and they cut off all her connection with her family and stuff. So the family, not knowing where she was or if she was alive, put out the statement that she was missing. She then went and put out her own statement stating that she wasn't missing. She left on her own accord and all of that stuff. And then I think that was probably last Thursday, Friday. And then for the police to do the raid on Sunday. So I'm wondering if there's a connection there, some intel that the police got, well, you know, why they went to that particular church and to the cult house, however they want to say it, and whatever. But it should be interesting to see how this unfolds over the next couple of weeks. It should be interesting to see what happens with the court case. That's going to probably take a couple of years to come to fruition. I'm sure a couple of the other cults that are operating in Jamaica may have gone a little bit deeper underground. But if this situation can help some members of the other cults come to the realization that that's not where they need to be, then hopefully, you know, more people will be rescued. But, you know, it's just sad that, you know, all of that can happen in such a small country with that, and with that, for a small country with a small population, that many people would get caught up in a cult in that situation, and for this girl to lose her life and the other gentleman to lose her life. So, not a good look. Not a good look, but, you know, thankfully, they were able to get the people to you know, they were able to get to the organization before more people died. Anyways, that's a new story for the night. We're going to go around to our soul Chattingz, and it is courtesy of one of my favorite basketball player, Mr. Kobe Bryant, where he stated the biggest mistake we make in life is thinking we have time. And we don't. We don't have time. Even the story that I read about the guy in Quebec that just came out of the car to take a pee. I mean, he didn't think that his life would have ended right then and there. So, yeah, the biggest mistake we make in life is thinking we have time. And we don't. So, my peeps, we have come to the end of another program. Hope I was able to entertain you a little bit, provide you with some information that you didn't know before, provide you with some information that made you think, you know, a little bit different about some things or whatever. So I want to thank you for joining me another Thursday evening, spending your time with me. I'm going to drop the link to my YouTube channel. Please go over to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Just click on the link, click subscribe. You can watch me on YouTube. You can comment on YouTube. You can watch me on Facebook. You can comment on Facebook. So thanks for taking the time out to watch the live. It was fun for me. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Replay will be on YouTube. And I also split out the different stories into shorter episodes so that it's easy to watch. You don't have to sit and watch everything. Good night, Enid. Night, Marcel, Sharon, Angie, Danny, everybody else. See you next week. Same time, same place, right here, where we will have some more interesting conversations. Good night, everybody.